Chapter 601. After Hu Liansheng left, there was nothing left. Xian Yun was alone at home. In name, she needed to rest after the abortion. In reality, she was pregnant, so she applied for half a month of sick leave from the school. Monica agreed to Jian Yun's request for leave. She cared about Jian Yun and asked Jian Yun a few questions, but Jian Yun did not want to say more, so she did not ask any more. It was just that Monica wanted to say something but did not say it in the end. She only told Jian Yun to take good care of her body. Xian Yun did not know how Hu Liansheng and Liao family negotiated. Although it was the deadline set by Liao Shibing, no one came to urge her to sign the divorce agreement. On the third day after Hu Liansheng left, Yang Fei called Jian Yun. Because Jian Yun's phone was switched off, Yang Fei's call came to the butler's phone. Jian Yun had not been able to contact Yang Fei for nearly a month. When she found out that Yang Fei was only brought to a very remote sanatorium and was not tortured, she was relieved. But Yang Fei was very worried. Although she had been living in isolation for the past month, it did not mean that she did not know what had happened outside. Xian Yun only explained a few words to avoid the heavy burden. Only when she knew that Yang Fei would return to King Hu very soon did she feel at ease. Jian Yun also understood that all of this was because of Hu Liansheng. The Liao family was so powerful, and she did not know how he had convinced the Liao family. Did he pay a price? Currently, Xian Yun's feelings for Hu Liansheng were really in a subtle state. During this period, Bao Yanran came to take a look. He had passed Shengyun a few times. But a few days later, Bao Yanran's vacation ended, and she returned to the military headquarters in the capital. So there was only Jian Yun at home. These days, Jian Yun was completely isolated from the outside world, and her phone was turned off. She did not want to see those bad news to affect her mood. The reason why she bled that day was also because of her quarrel with Hu Liansheng. In her anger, it affected the baby in her womb. The doctor told her to lie down for a few more days and exercise less, so Jian Yun did not dare to move around on the bed these few days. After a week, she slowly got out of bed and walked around. 2 more days. In 2 more days, the holiday would be over. During these 2 weeks, Jian Yun did not think about Hu Liansheng and did not look at the news. She only wanted to have a good rest and safely give birth to the child. Her life was peaceful. However, whether she was really calm in her heart or pretending to be calm on the surface, only Jian Yun knew. It was different from when there was no news from before. This time, Hu Liansheng would call back every 3 days. As Jian Yun's phone was turned off, Hu Liansheng's phone was picked up by the butler. The butler then transferred the call to Jian Yun. However, Jian Yun had a grudge in her heart. The relationship between them had already cracked, and they could no longer be as close as before. At first, Hu Liansheng would ask Jian Yun some questions and care about her. But Jian Yun was usually silent, because she really did not know what kind of attitude she would use to talk to him. She could not be as calm as if nothing had happened. In the end, Hu Liansheng did not speak anymore. However, he still called. It was just that the phone usually started in silence and then ended in silence. These days, Jian Yun had a feeling of unease in her heart. This feeling grew stronger as time passed. She always felt that something was about to happen. Today was the last day of the holiday. Jian Yun drove to the hospital in the morning. She contacted Bai Zi beforehand and let him take her for an examination. Bai Zi brought Jian Yun for a checkup. Because they had to avoid the crowd, they went to the VIP building. There were few people here and there was a separate inspection room. The doctor who did the ultrasound went to the washroom. Bao Zi asked Xian Yun to sit and wait for a while. Bao Zi was as clean as usual, giving people a kind of amicable trust. Are you feeling better? Does your stomach still hurt? When Bai Zi saw Jian Yun, the first thing he said was to care about her. These days, Jian Yun's phone was turned off. He could not find her even if he wanted to, but he could not go to the Hu residence directly. He was really worried, so when he received Jian Yun's call today, Bao Zi was really excited. Yes, much better. Jian Yun narrowed her eyes and smiled sweetly. I never had the chance to tell you. That day, I really thank you. She was grateful to Bai Zi from the bottom of her heart. We are a family. Why are you still so polite to me? Bai Zi pretended to be angry, but the smile in his eyes could not be stopped. However, his smile was immediately restrained. He frowned and asked the question that had been lingering in his heart for the past few days. Jian Yun, I don't understand. Why doesn't he want a child? Jian Yun's originally smiling eyes instantly dimmed because of this sentence. Her expression also became cold and solemn. Bai Zi's heart jumped, but he said very kindly, You don't want to say it. I won't ask you. I can give you a reason. Xian Yun shook her head, and a mocking smile appeared on her lips. The reason he doesn't want a child is because he is afraid that something will happen to me when I give birth. Ah? Bao Zi did not understand what Jian Yun meant. Now that medical science is so developed, the mortality rate of women giving birth is very low. How could he be so worried? Who knows? Jian Yun did not want to bring up this topic again. She thought for a while, then looked up and asked Bai Zi worriedly. Director Bai, will this matter bring trouble to the hospital? Hu Lansheng had clearly requested an abortion at that time. The surgery list also contained this information, but the hospital did the opposite. Not only did it not trigger the birth, but it also treated Jian Yun to protect the fetus. Although the hospital had followed Jian Yun's wishes and protected the child with a humanitarian goal, if the matter was exposed and Hu Liansheng made trouble, the higher-ups would definitely implicate the director who treated Jian Yun and Bai Zi. Therefore, Jian Yun was very worried these days. However, Bai Zi shook his head. It's fine. Since it has been done, naturally it has to be exposed. Your medicine is prescribed separately. On the surface, it is the contraceptives. No problem. There is no way to find out. Even if you are questioned, it is not like there has never been such a precedent. Just say that you are pregnant with 2 children. One of them was born first, and the one who suffered an abortion during the surgery was the child, but the other one was overlooked. Bai Zi said it in a more professional manner. Xian Yun was confused when she heard him. Bai Zi said concisely, in short, don't worry. This kind of situation has happened before. Although it is only 1 in a million probability of such a situation happening, it will not implicate us. That's good. Xian Yun was relieved when she heard what Bai Zi said. But you can hide it from Hu Liansheng for a while. What are you going to do when your belly gets bigger? Bai Zi was very worried. He did not have a good impression of Hu Liansheng now. He did not understand what Hu Liansheng was thinking. How could he force the woman he loved to have a baby? I don't know. Let's take it one step at a time. At most, we can hide and give birth to the baby. Xian Yun bit her lower lip. There was a look of sadness on her face. When she said this, she felt inexplicably uneasy, but she did not know where this uneasiness came from. Before long, the doctor from the ultrasonography room came back. Bai Zi personally went in with Jian Yun. The doctor gave out the official data, and everything was normal. Xian Yun even saw the little guy rolling around in his stomach. This was the first time Jian Yun saw the baby directly. When her heart beat like a small train, her eyes immediately turned red. After the examination was over, Bai Zi sent Jian Yun away. Along the way, Jian Yun was very excited. Her pale and thin face even had a luster. Do you want to know the gender of the baby? Bai Zi looked at Jian Yun's appearance and could not help but ask with a smile. He liked Jian Yun and felt that this girl was pure and beautiful. But since they did not have any fate, he also placed this kind of feeling in his heart. Now that Bao Yanran and Yu Yang Bizen had received the certificate, he and Jian Yun naturally became a family. In Bai Zi's opinion, caring for Jian Yun was just like caring about his family. Xian Yun's eyes lit up when she heard that. You saw it? Bao Zi nodded with a smile in his eyes. I want to know. Xian Yun nodded with all her might. Of course, she wanted to know the gender of the baby. It was not that she prioritized boys over girls. She felt that boys were good or girls were good. She was just curious about whether the one who grew up in her womb was a boy or a girl. It's a strong one. Don't say it. Xian Yun suddenly interrupted. Bai Zi. She scratched her hair, clenched her fists, and put them on her heart. She looked conflicted. Then she smiled again and said with longing, Forget it. Let's leave some suspense. I think it will be exciting to know at the last moment. That makes sense. Bai Zi pursed his lips and nodded in agreement. He looked at Jian Yun with a light smile in his eyes. Thank you. Before Jian Yun got into the car, she turned her head to look at Bai Zi and said sincerely, If you are so polite with me again, I will ignore you next time. Bai Zi pretended to be angry. Jian Yun playfully blinked her eyes, and then the two of them looked at each other and smiled. Drive carefully on the road. Drive slowly and fasten your seatbelt. Bai Zi urged worriedly. After exiting the hospital, Jian Yun drove straight home. Although the house was cold and deserted, at least there was something she missed there. Instead, when she walked in the crowd, Jian Yun always felt that it was out of place. Halfway through the journey, Jian Yun's phone rang. Today she came to the hospital and had to contact Bai Zi beforehand, so for the first time in half a month, she turned on her phone. Her phone was about to die. There were too many messages on her phone, but Jian Yun did not check the messages after she turned on the phone again. At this moment, her heart was full of joy. This was the first time she felt happiness from the bottom of her heart ever since Hu Liansheng left for so long. As long as she thought about the little life that was being nurtured in her body, she felt that life had meaning again. However, Jian Yun did not want to answer the phone, but it did not mean that those people were willing to let her go. The phone was still ringing nonstop. Jian Yun was a little annoyed. So she parked the car by the side and picked up the phone to check. Looking at it, Jian Yun found that the phone that kept repeating was actually from Wu Wenjing. There were still a few missed calls. Most of them were people she was familiar with. But there were also some unfamiliar numbers on her phone. Jian Yun was very helpless. Could it be that Hu Liancheng and Mu Wanru had some new developments? She could only think of this possibility. Just as she was thinking, Jian Yun's phone rang again. She looked down and saw that it was still Wu Wenjing. Jian Yun could only answer the call. Hello, what's wrong? Why are you calling me so urgently? You are still talking, Jian Yun. What have you been doing these few days? Your phone is switched off and no matter what, you can't get through. I almost thought that you were abducted and even went to your school to ask. They said that you applied for sick leave. The moment Wu Wenjing came up, she criticized Jian Yun in front of her face. Jian Yun smiled gently. Didn't I send you a message? Isn't that the same as not saying anything? What do you mean by you need to rest for a while and keep your hands off and tell us not to look for you? Do you know that Yan Yan and I are both anxious to death? Wenjing said angrily. However, Jian Yun had too many things to do after moving to the Hu residence and had never been there. Moreover, Hu Liancheng's villa was in the most high-end villa area in King City. They could not enter at all, let alone go there to look for Jian Yun. All right, it's my fault. I'm sorry, Miss Wu. Jian Yun could only apologize. She understood that Wu Wenjing and Lu Yanyan cared about her. Actually, her phone was turned off at that time. She did not even tell her best friend the truth, because Jian Yun did not know how to explain Hu Liancheng's actions to them. Wenjing did not calm down. Instead, she shouted, You only turned on your phone today. You probably do not know what is on the internet right now. Quickly go online and take a look. The news only came out this morning. Other people said on Weibo that you were forced to have an abortion. How ridiculous. Why do they keep spreading rumors all day long? They even said it like they saw it with their own eyes. She continued. They really committed crimes. They can use this kind of thing to spout nonsense. Jian Yun's car stopped by the side of the road. On the road by the side, there were constantly cars speeding by. Her car also shook. Wenjing was still nagging there, but Jian Yun seemed to be in another space. She could not hear anything by her ears and her vision was also blurry. Hello, Jian Yun? Did you hear me? Wu Wenjing did not hear Jian Yun's answer for a long time and could not help but shout a few words. Oh, I'm listening. Jian Yun suddenly came back to her senses. At this moment, her expression was calm and there were no ripples. There was even a smile on the corner of her mouth. Wengang, are you well? I am well. Although Wenjing was very nervous, it did not mean that she was stupid. Jian Yun suddenly changed the topic and made her smell something unusual. But Wu Wenjing also understood that since Jian Yun did not want to say it, she could not ask now and could only follow Jian Yun's words. I rested at home for a week and went to work last week. She continued, however. Things hadn't been going well in Ming's recently. After Hu Liancheng left, old man Ming couldn't stand it anymore. The Ming brothers weren't good at doing business. It was said that the company was going to cut its employees. I wonder if they will cut me. I'm driving. We'll talk when I get home. Jian Yun was a little absent-minded. Okay, you drive first. We will continue to chat later. Don't think too much. Drive carefully. Wenjing quickly said. After hanging up the phone, Jian Yun suddenly felt exhausted. She closed her eyes and picked up the phone several times but put it down. She really did not want the news to affect her mood, but Jian Yun finally turned on the phone and only casually glanced at it a few times. It was as if her heart was immersed in ice water. The bone-piercing cold made her dizzy. It was indeed as Wu Wenjing said. Starting from Weibo, almost all of the gossip began to repost the information about the person who claimed to know. The content of the news was very detailed, and there were also photos of her and Hu Liancheng arguing in the hospital. Even though the picture was very blurry, anyone who recognized Jian Yun could still tell that it was her. There were more than one photos. There were photos of Princess Hu Liancheng carrying Jian Yun out of the car, photos of Jian Yun confronting Hu Liancheng in the ward, and even the way Jian Yun looked when she was pushed into the operating theater. Even though the picture of her face had been processed, it still made people feel her fear. The words matched with the picture described what had happened that day in detail. Then, with the tone of an insider, Jian Yun used her pregnancy to threaten Hu Liancheng to give up the marriage with Miss Ma family. However, she was rejected by Hu Liancheng and forced her to give birth. She did not want her first child to be born by a woman of such low status. Then, she speculated that she was going to divorce and give up her position for her new wife. This news had been reposted a few million times. Of course, it was not because Jian Yun was too famous. It was because Hu Liancheng had been so close to the Mu family recently. His identity was special, and he had the Liao family backing him. Although the rumors about the internal conflict in the Hu family had stopped for a while, those who had some ability to analyze could see that the current economic situation in the imperial capital was so delicate that it had nothing to do with the Huo family. Of course, there were also people who questioned the authenticity of the news. If they were to spread the news and slander it, they would be detained if they were to violate the law, according to the forwarding number of this piece of news. Then, just as Jian Yun opened her Weibo, the person who leaked the news revealed the evidence again. This time, the person who leaked the news posted a record of the hospital's discharge certificate. Jian Yun's name was clearly written on it. The record was very clear that it led to the birth of a stillborn child. 12 weeks old. This discharge was no different from the most powerful evidence. Moreover, the person who leaked the evidence must be someone from the hospital. With this, there was no longer anyone who questioned the authenticity of the information. The record of the hospital discharge certificate that was reproduced was immediately pushed to the top of the trending topics on Weibo. Almost all of the gossip about Jian Yun's birth was posted on Weibo. All sorts of speculations came one after another. Jian Yun was not a film star or an internet celebrity. She was just an ordinary person. Even if she married Hu Liancheng, she only wanted to live her own life in a low-profile manner. She had never thought that one day, she would be completely famous in such a way. This woman is obviously not a good person. She is just a spicy chicken that climbs up to the rich and powerful. She must have taken a liking to her husband's money and relied on her body to get married. I didn't expect that the marriage's expiry date would be so short, and she was kicked so quickly. In the end, she couldn't even keep her own child. Poor thing. Poor what? I don't feel any pity for her at all. Who knows what methods she used to get to the top? Now that she saw that her husband had changed his mind and wanted to use the child to tie him up, she got nothing. I despise such a woman. Looking at her appearance, I feel uncomfortable. She doesn't look good either. One look and you can tell that she came from an ordinary backward family. She doesn't have the temperament of a young lady from the Ma family. That's a true socialite. I heard that her father is a gambling addict. He spends all his time outside using the guise of Hu Liancheng's father-in-law to swindle others. Now, he has revealed his true colors. Luckily, Hu Liancheng woke up in time. It's not too late to stop him now. Otherwise, if she really gave birth to the baby, she would be very proud of herself. She might even use the baby to do something shameful. Moreover, the child of such a low-quality woman is definitely not a good bird. It is the genes of a low-quality person. She deserves it for not being able to give birth to a child in her lifetime. Jian Yun flipped through the comments one by one. She had never thought that she would be ridiculed by the entire internet like this. Those vicious comments and speculations were like sharp, poisonous needles that stabbed into her heart. Cold air rose from the bottom of her heart. After the sharp pain, the poison in the poisonous needles gradually spread. It was so painful that she could not breathe. The scene in front of her seemed to be shaking. It was so painful that her hands trembled. She almost could not hold her phone. Jian Yun had never thought that such online violence would be added to her one day. Those people who had high morals standing behind the screen had poured all their malice on her without knowing the truth. They did not even let go of the children who did not have time to be born. Jian Yun could not imagine what kind of sadness, pain, sadness, and even heartbreaking despair would be when she saw these vicious comments and curses. Just because she came from a low background, her father was not a powerful person or a wealthy businessman, so he deserved to be maliciously attacked and cursed. How many of these people who had high moral standing on the internet were nobler than her? For a moment, Jian Yun felt despair. What made her even more despair was that she suddenly realized that all the unfair treatment she had received was because she married Hu Liancheng. Because she married such an outstanding and extraordinary man, but she was as coarse as grass. Therefore, everyone said that she was not worthy of him. And the promise that he had always promised to protect her and to give her warmth and safety in the harbor became empty words at this time. He even wanted to take away her most precious treasure for a ridiculous reason. Xian Yun pressed her forehead against the steering wheel, and her body emitted an unconcealable despair. She really did not know if she could persist or not. Even if she could, she believed in him. Under such circumstances, how long could this kind of persistence and trust last? Really, it was so tiring. Xian Yun could not bear to watch anymore. Her good mood when she saw the baby had completely disappeared due to these malicious comments. She threw her phone to the side and did not care about the constantly ringing phone. She took a deep breath and planned to drive home. However, Xian Yun's hands were shaking violently and her entire body was shaking. She twisted the keys several times but could not start the car. Xian Yun suddenly realized that her current condition was not suitable to drive. Furthermore, she was not alone right now. She still had to consider the child in her womb. She could not let anything happen to it. Xian Yun took her phone and bag and prepared to get out of the car. She could not drive and could only take a taxi back. Her phone was still ringing. Xian Yun's hands were shaking so badly that she did not know why she picked up the phone. Hello? Hello? Xian Yun, where are you? A familiar voice sounded. It was Zhang Yang. I'm on my way. Xian Yun's voice was a little shaky. She felt that her reaction had slowed down. She just wanted to find some change in her bag to take a taxi, but she could not even open her wallet. Are you driving? Quickly pull over and stop. Send me a seat. I will pick you up immediately. Zhang Yang said urgently. Okay, Zhang Yang said. Xian Yun's hands trembled as she opened WeChat and sent a message to Zhang Yang. Don't move there. I'll be there soon. Zhang Yang hung up the phone. Xian Yun felt dizzy. It was midsummer, but she was sweating profusely.